January 12th, 2022. I almost said 2021. Here we go.
$200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous
$200 a month. Aww. Mama say, mama sama makusa. So that's Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, if you're nasty. Supposedly it's Swahili, which, if you have to pick one language for Africa, which has thousands, or hundreds at least, Swahili is the language that you would choose. And every once in a while, African Americans will use Swahili words. Of course, Michael Jackson didn't look like an African American, but it doesn't matter if you're black or white. Tracy Ellis Ross quoted that line, Mama say, mama sa, mama kusa. That's not quite it. Mama say something as, we've been saved by the sound of Michael's song. We've been saved by the sound of Michael's song. So she grew up as the daughter of Diana Ross, knowing Michael Jackson and thinking that his sound, his voice and sound were wonderful like the rest of the world thought. And so when she heard that song, she thought it said, I've been saved by the sound of Michael's song. Or we have been saved by the sound of Michael's song. Anyway, so that's Michael Jackson. I remember Michael Jackson when he was in the Jackson 5. And he was a black boy. And then, for decades, I saw him change. I think a lot of people know what he looked like when he was in the Jackson 5, and they know what he looked like at various times when he was much different. But the time that intrigues me is when he was singing Ben, the song about the rat. And he's very clearly, in photographs of that time, someone who has or is going through puberty. He is a black man. So we've seen him as a black boy and a black man, and then he became androgynous and white. So if you look at how he looked his whole life, it's very interesting. I don't know how, if he took hormones to feminize his body, but for a while there he was a grown man, and then he became more feminized. There's some kind of spell that was over me concerning Michael Jackson. I remember when plastic surgery was a big topic. And I was like, I said, really? He's had plastic surgery? The explosion, or when he caught on fire during the Pepsi commercial, was used as an excuse as to why he was hooked on drugs and painkillers. And it was also used as a reason why his appearance changed, because he had to have surgeries, I suppose. But no one in their right mind can look at pictures of Michael Jackson and think that that look is accomplished without plastic surgery. But in the 80s, I was surprised to hear it, even though it's the most obvious thing. I mean, it's the most obvious thing, or else it's different people, right? One or the other. The spell or control or the power that popular music has over the youth is pretty powerful. I've been enjoying the Jackson 5 Christmas songs recently. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. I'm surprised that the Jacksons, as his backups, don't have a little better harmonies. I think they had better harmonies later when they toured with and without him in the Victory Tour and so forth. It's very interesting as a musician what makes it to the radio and what doesn't. I'm absolutely certain that they could be minimum good backup singers, probably excellent backup singers, but for some reason, you know, all the emphasis was put on him. So that was a phrase in Swahili by one of the most influential pop culture phenomenons in the world. I'm thinking about earlier when Muhammad Ali was the most famous man in the world. And then I think Michael Jackson was probably the most famous man in the world. Who's the most famous man in the world right now? I don't know. As I get older and I get away from pop culture, but pop culture has changed. I mean, with people being able to watch anything they want and not be limited to 3 or 4 or 5 TV channels, then there are just too many options to have people be that famous. You know, you've got famous people within each subculture as opposed to someone who's celebrated in all of media. All right, January 11th, 2022. Here we go. Let's make it a good day.